Okay, it says we're streaming, but I'm just gonna make sure that it is.
Okay.
I always double check. Okay, yeah, we are live. Oh. Okay, so let's see. We have one person watching at the moment. I usually just sort of, yes, hello to one person.
Is it you?
I don't know.
That's funny. It's like my TikToks.
Oh no, it's Bonsart. Hello, Bonsart.
Oh, hi.
Bonsart. That's a cool username, actually.
Oh, it's his name. His username is Radio Retro Future. He's who I talked to last week. I don't know if you saw it, but it was a world building conversation. It was cool.
Cool. No, I'll have to check it out. I didn't watch it, but I should. I love world building.
He's taken it to the next level, and that it's like his entire life.
Oh,
his
cool.
whole
I bet he's good at it.
His whole place is, from what I could see, is all steampunk. Like I'm pretty sure he just built his own apartment or place, whatever it is.
Yeah, he had an apartment tour in, I think the video is from 2016, so I can only imagine it's gotten like crazier since, but he does all this DIY and like DIY brickwork and like worn away stuff, and it's all steampunk. It's so cool. Yeah, like, definitely look it up.
Yeah, well, I love people that do that, because it's just like, so the commitment in all of it, it's just like so cool. I wish I could do that.
Oh, I know.
I'm not handy though.
Well, I was thinking, I was like, oh, I just want to own a house so I can do that. Like just do whatever I want to. It would be so cool. So right now it's just, we're in an apartment and we can't, I think our landlord would be very upset with us if we decided to start like painting everything and destroying it.
Yeah. No, I know. I'm actually really lucky to own my home, and I haven't done much with it. Like you can see like the red and the gray wall behind me. This room was like the ugliest shade of blue. Like,
oh no.
Yeah. So I painted this room, my bedroom. I really haven't done that much with it, and I totally should. I'm just not a handy person, and I'm 4'11", so like it's really challenging.
You need all the ladders
to do anything handy, but yeah, I'm creative in a lot of ways. I'm just not like a handy person. I don't know.
You should look up Bonsart's channel and see all the like how-tos and stuff.
I will. That's fun.
So where are we at? Oh, we have 3 people now, so that's not just me. So I guess we can sort of jump into it. We're going to be talking about writing and story structure today. And my guests are Arabella and Pavio. If you guys want to sort of intro yourselves, if you want. I mean, I think everyone on my channel knows who I am at this point. They're sick and tired of it.
You can go ahead.
I'm Pay from attention. I have something in my left eye. I've had this in my left eye all day, and I can't do anything about it. So if I'm looking like this the whole time, I apologize. I don't know what's going on.
That sounds miserable.
It is miserable, but such is life.
Well, okay. How do you follow that? I'm Arabella. I am an award-winning sci-fi fantasy author. I have my first book out, The Mark of Chaos and Creation. It came out September 6th. And the sequel will be coming out sometime this fall. It's called The Mark of Dreams and Darkness. And yeah, I really love to teach storytelling and craft and all of that. I'm like obsessed with it. I'm just a total nerd about it. It just is one of those things that really lights me up. I don't know why, but yeah. That's me. Hi.
Thank you so much for coming on. Like I definitely relate to that. Once I started doing YouTube, I was like, I just have to keep educating and learning more. And it's just, it's almost like addictive.
It is. And I'm naturally like good at teaching, which is kind of like a random, like, I don't know, skill set I picked up when I was working in cosmetic sales. Because I had to basically teach people how to do their makeup. Sorry, it's my dog.
Oh,
Um,
doggy.
I had to teach people how to do their makeup all the time. And so I kind of learned how to instruct people on like complicated things, like how do you do a winged eyeliner with liquid pen, like that's hard for people. And so that kind of took me over and into teaching storytelling craft. And I just loved it. And, it took me a long time to get onto film though. Like I was super, super self-conscious. I like couldn't even bear it. Like it was so hard. But I found like once I started doing it, it just got easier and easier. And now I'm totally comfortable with it. So sometimes I get a little awkward, but
I think we're all in the same boat there.
yeah.
Yeah, like if you go back to my first video, oh my God.
Oh, right. I can't even watch them. I just,
No.
no, it's so bad.
You put them out there and then it's done.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I recently took off a bunch of my older videos. I have a nervous stutter. So when I get nervous, I stutter a lot. And I didn't realize how bad it was until I started filming. I've gotten a lot better since, but yeah, my earlier videos, it would take about 4 or 5 hours to film about 15 minutes just because of it. It was so. Yeah, that's a thing.
But at least you're like, oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say makes YouTube even tougher than it already is.
Yeah, YouTube as a platform is really tough. I find like it's such a long game where like something like TikTok, you could really find success at any moment, at any time with it.
Yeah, I noticed that you do a lot of book talks because that's something I keep thinking, oh, should I get into it? And like I feel like it's such a younger platform and I feel like I'm too old for it. Like I tried it before doing the whole sort of like the mood that everyone else does and I just felt so fake. So I don't know, but Pei was saying that they're coming out with like 10-minute videos soon. So maybe when it gets to that point, then I'll try to explore it.
Yeah, I feel that too. Like because I'll be 33 in March.
Oh yeah, I'm 33 now.
Okay, yeah. So I definitely feel that, but like in the writing space, I feel like there's a lot of older people on there actually, like around our age. And there are youngins too, but I think it's a good place to be. And I mean, I like it. I found a lot of success there. It's my biggest platform, and I feel like I can really repurpose that content everywhere else. So I like it. It's just it has its own social dynamic that is very different from like YouTube. Like kind of in your video that you posted about the anthology that you guys are putting together, like I feel on YouTube there's, for me anyway, there's like I feel like I'm out here like alone.
Yeah.
And on TikTok, it's very much so like I'm a part of the group there. And it's just totally different, but it comes with a lot of drama too. Like there is a ton of drama on there. And how I deal with it, I just stay out of everything. Like unless it's like a hill I want to die on, I don't really comment on the constant influx of like, oh, this person said this and this conversation about this and this on this. It's just because it's always, everyone is so divided over there. And it's like, there's always like two camps of one person feels this way, another group feels another. And it's just, you can't make anybody happy over there. So you just got to keep your mouth shut and do what you do.
Yeah, I think that is one of the things, like when I was considering posting on there, I saw a lot of sort of infighting and stuff. I'm like, it's writing and books. Why are you infighting? Calm down.
I know very much people need to calm down over there. And I was talking to one of my friends about this yesterday because I have been working with Midjourney. I don't know. Do you know what that is?
I have heard of it, but if you want to clarify, like that name sounds familiar, but I'm like, drawing a blank.
Yes. So Midjourney is one of the AI like art generating things.
Oh, okay.
And there's actually skill involved in it. It's not, it has a lot of like prompts and a lot of like weird intricacies and stuff you need to kind of learn to be able to use it. So it does take some skill, and I'm really good at Photoshop and digital art in general. So I've been generating stuff and then putting it into Photoshop and making like character and book art and stuff. And
Okay.
I told my friend that I'm just a little scared releasing some of this stuff because people on TikTok are saying that you're basically a shit person if you use AI art, because the way that the art is generated, it pulls from art all over the internet. So you're basically stealing from people, but I don't really agree with that as an artist, as a consumer. I don't really get that. I think it's just kind of like a gobbledygook of a bunch of stuff, you know? But it's a new time. It's new technology. I don't really know if I'm here to judge the ethics of it, but like, I'm not making money off of the art, so I don't really see anything bad in it. But like if my point is that there's so many people who are just like shaming people for just having fun, just making art, just, you know, doing random stuff like making a picture of yourself into an anime or something like that. Like, it's not that serious. Calm down. It's okay.
It's I don't know if you actually saw, my first creative conversation was on AI art, and Pei was on it, and along with my dad and my dad's wife. And I think that I personally came to the conclusion that, like, I used it for character portraits. And I forget the name of it, like Character Blender or something like that. And it sounds kind of similar to the one you're talking about, where you have sliders and you could choose like every little aspect of the character. So like, I'm really making a unique character, and there is that sort of effort put into it. And like, it's very difficult because I can see both sides of it. I've seen the articles about, you know, like this artist passed away and immediately his entire catalog was uploaded and people were sort of altering his catalog, which you know, it sucks for the family and stuff. But at the same time, like, I think that it can go into this really cool area to enhance art that we're already making as artists, right? Like, because I mean, my style isn't right for everything all the time. So sometimes I want, like for my character portraits, I was like, I want them to be kind of realistic and painterly, and I don't really do that. And so I went to AI with the effort put into it. So, but yeah, it is a very divisive topic right now. Like, there's so much conflict, and it's such a huge thing.
Yeah, absolutely. It is. And I played with the AI bot. I think it's chatbot. If I could say it, chatbot GTP or GPA or whatever the heck it is, the one that spits out words instead of art. And I found that one even more creepy than the art one, because like, I read some guy taught himself how to code in like an hour with it.
Oh, wow.
Because it just, you get to ask such specific questions, and it answers it like Google on steroids, basically.
Oh, wow.
And so it's very interesting. So I know some dude made a children's book from the AI chatbot, whatever.
I think I saw that, like, it was kind of going viral, and he was using AI art too, right?
Yeah.
Like, and people were attacking him a lot.
Yeah. So he did the art and the book, put it up on Amazon. And I think that's where it kind of crosses the line.
Yeah.
If you're like saying, oh, I made this is my book and whatever. I mean, I could even maybe stretch it if you'd use the artwork, maybe. But the fact that you're like not even writing the story, that's shady in my opinion. That's a little too far.
No, I agree.
Things like character art and stuff, I think is fine. But yeah, on TikTok, there's a lot of just things like that because I've seen them take people down. Like, I've seen authors go down, you know, maybe some rightfully so, some not rightfully so. And so it's just like, I know before I released The Mark of Chaos and Creation, I was really nervous about just everything and anything. And my sister was like, you need to calm down and stop like being so weird about it. And I'm like, I'm terrified though. Like one person takes something and I write the wrong way, you know, anything can happen with that. And it's like, I have no bad intention, but it seems like on TikTok, like intention doesn't matter. Like people like it's like a mob kind of like
the internet can eat you alive.
Yeah, it's a scary place. And so a lot of that toxicity exists on TikTok, but it is really positive too. Like it's been really great for me personally. Like I've really had a pretty good experience with it just because, like I said, I stay out of the out of the drama. I
think that's the key for sure.
Yeah.
I remember hearing Twitter's the worst place. Like Twitter's the worst. It's so toxic. Everyone's like, don't get on Twitter. And I didn't for years. And I think I got on maybe like 4 years ago. And then I built a following. Like that's my biggest social media platform. And I've never had a single problem. Like everyone's just been nice. We do writers lifts. We support each other. And then everyone's like, oh my God, Twitter, it's so awful. Like it's not if you don't engage in the awful stuff.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I think it's definitely about like the individual person and like you said, engaging in it and feeding that toxicity. Like it's some people just thrive on it. Like like there's always those people, you know, they're always in the middle of it. You know, it's just like, oh, you hate it so much. You hate the drama, but like, do you really?
It's like I think you like it a lot.
I think they do.
Yeah,
crazy.
For sure. So we were going to talk about story structure. So I know that's something that you're passionate about. If you wanted to sort of get into it, I was thinking sort of a good place to start would be how you structured your debut novel.
Cool. I will. So I'm definitely like a plotter, outliner type. So I follow the 3-act structure with the Save the Cat beat sheet kind of combined. And I'm actually going to be releasing a like digital fillable workbook that is this process very soon. So because I think it's a little bit different. And so I followed that, but I also wanted like it to have a really good like character arc in it as well. And I wanted the character and the external story to be like both on the same level. I didn't want it to just be like plot driven or just character driven. I really wanted like an epic combo of the two. And so I really kind of broke down the Save the Cat beats into internal and external conflict. So like the hook would be the internal, the inciting incident would be the external conflict, right? And so it kind of just goes down the beat sheet with what's happening inside with the character and then what are the external elements that are driving, you know, their needs, their wants, their fears, all of that stuff. And so I focus really heavily on character, I think in the beginning, kind of finding, you know, what their misbelief is, you know, what do they want versus what do they need? What do they fear? What are they trying to avoid? Their psychological issues. It's very, I think plotting a novel is very like psychological. Like you really got to know psychology, know people, know how the human brain works, how people react, and really understand that at like a fundamental level. And so that's kind of how I started it. It took me a long time to write this book. So I think when I officially like sat down and said, I'm going to write this book, it took me about 4 years plus an additional 4 years before that of studying craft. So I like really know my shit on this stuff. And so total, I've been working with it for about 8 years. More so intently in the last 4 years when I've been writing. And so I wrote my very first book, which is the very first draft of this novel, of the debut. And that took me like almost a year to write it. It was terrible.
Oh, I have
And
one I've been working on for like 20 years, so
yeah,
I get how long you can really get into these things for.
yeah, and especially in the first one. And what
Mm,
my biggest realization with that first one was I kept trying to plot it before I wrote it, and I just
mm,
kept getting stuck. Like I just kept hitting a wall, and every time I would turn around, I would hit another wall. And so I said, screw it, I'm just gonna write it. And then I did, and I finished it. And then I had like this great light bulb moment that led me to rewrite it again. And so I wrote that one, I think, in like 9 months. So I
mm.
wrote that one faster, and it was way better. And then I swear it was like the day I finished it, I had this amazing idea. And I was like, oh my God, I just rewrote this book, and this idea that just popped into my brain at like the worst time would really make it a high concept story. And so I said, oh gosh, okay, I'm gonna rewrite it again.
Yeah.
And so the third time I rewrote it is what the final product finally became. But I think at the end, it went through from the third draft or the third rewrite, it went through 9 drafts to get to the finished product. And I had an amazing developmental editor. She was actually Brandon Sanderson's editor on Mistborn.
Yeah, I noticed that. I was looking through your site and I saw that. I was like, oh, that's a great editor.
She's phenomenal. Like the way like her brain works, like she's like made for this. So she really helped a lot and taught me a lot and recommended like a lot of really good books that I read. And she was just so phenomenal in taking this book to like where it could, where I really envisioned it. Like it was the third draft or whatever I ended up sending her was, it was fine, it was good, but like it was kind of like a diamond in a rough a little bit. And she really just saw the potential in it and took it to the place where I always knew that it could end up being. And I'm just so proud of it. I'm so proud of the story. I think that it's a really good story. It has really good like heart to it, and action, and a really unique plot that like I've never seen before. And so I'm really proud of it. And I definitely know that I've grown because like the plot for book 2 was so easy and simple to write and to get the plot down. And then her and I went over the plot line together, and she was just like, man, this is like one so much better than what you sent me initially on the, the first round. And it's just so much more in depth, and it has more twists and turns. But it's like it's all there, like it wasn't all there with the first one before I gave it to her, but it was all there now. So I'm definitely growing, and I think that's super important for people to know that like you could start out like not being really good at this, but it's a skill, it's a craft. You do it and you grow, and you do it and you grow, and you get better and better and better and better. And it's hard. Like writing a book is really hard. There are so many elements to it. It's like maddening. It's crazy. It's 3-dimensional chess, how I like to put it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
Yeah, and once you sort of get that first one out, if you're creating in the same world, at least you have that, like you've built that foundation and now you can sort of play in it, right?
absolutely. Yeah.
So what are you doing different? What are you doing the same with the next one? Because I know that like as someone I've put out one novel and I have many works in progress, and I know that the process is kind of different for each one, right? So like what have you taken away that's positive, and what was negative that you're just sort of going, okay, I'm done with that?
I feel like the processes are really similar just because I'm following basically the same plot structure. It's the plot structure that I'm following that is the workbook that I'm releasing. It's much more detailed, like I said, with the internal and the external. And like I guess it's so hard to describe because before with the first book, when I had my outline, like I saw the plot beats and everything, and I did understand it, but now I understand it like on just a more deeper, intricate level of human psychology and external elements, and how they're basically like two parallel tracks running at the same time, and how if you write a story where the external elements are specifically designed to force an internal shift, that is where you're going to find the most success. And that's what I'm doing now versus before, where I was just kind of writing them separately. I was writing an external plot and an internal story separately, but now I'm kind of writing them together, where this event in the plot affects this internal thing in the character, and they just kind of go together. And one of the things my editor taught me, well, she didn't specifically teach me this, a book she recommended taught me this. And it's basically like how to write structurally, like rising and falling action. I just filmed a YouTube video on this about how like writing it like up and down and kind of like gradually rising the action. I didn't do that in the first one until way later. And so I plot it that way now. And a book I really recommend. Oh, okay, I'm totally spacing on the name of it. But basically she talks about how there are these universal like fantasies that everybody in the world,
like the hero's journey and stuff like that, and archetypes.
No, not so much. So it's
Okay.
basically, it's more experiences. So like, let's say everybody would want to be rich, right? Or everybody would want to be like loved by the rich billionaire, or, a really big trope that's popular is like enemies to lovers. So it's like these fantasies that maybe we don't want in real life, but like we would love to read about, utilizing those in your story, and taking like a deep fantasy that most people would like never want to experience in their real life, but like they love it in fiction, that type of thing. So utilizing that, and all this, a lot of details. So I would definitely say like I just understand story so much better now, even though I knew so much before. It's crazy.
You can constantly learn. I find
absolutely.
like when I'm putting stuff out, like education and stuff, like there's an endless list of topics. Like you can just delve into everything, and it's changing all the time too. And there's, like it's constantly evolving. You have to constantly evolve as a writer, and it's great to just keep learning in that area. But like tropes are tropes for a reason. People love them.
Yeah, I'm a sucker for enemies to lovers. I'm like feral for it. I can't help it.
I used to in my last day job, I represented like romance and sort of adult authors, and like some of the tropes that they utilized, and they just got like so much interest. It was crazy. I was like, wow, people love this stuff.
They do. They eat it up. It's crazy. I love it.
Yeah. And so, I mean, I would love to get like a reading list that we could include. So I know you're blanking on the title of that one, but if you, or do you post it on your site? Like, do you share that actively on social media, your site? No,
No.
you should.
I know, I totally should. I've been wanting to make an Amazon storefront because I do read like a lot of craft books and stuff, and I need to do that. But I'll send you that in the vitamins.
Yes.
Make me a little list here. But it's like I don't know what it is called, but it's in my Kindle.
Okay. Yeah, I'm always looking to read more of that stuff, and I'm trying to read more this year. Every year I'm like, I'm gonna read a lot, and then I'm writing, I'm doing other things. So
do you listen to audiobooks?
No, I know I probably should.
You got to, girl.
Yeah, I started a little
Yes.
bit on YouTube. I was listening to because I was trying to find the works of George Sand actually, and I could only find them in French. And I'm in Montreal, but I don't speak French, and I can like read a little bit. So I did start listening to her stuff through YouTube in an audiobook. But yeah, that's probably a good idea.
It is. Yeah. And Mark of Chaos and Creation is coming out in audiobook really,
Okay.
really soon.
Oh,
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah. I love
Congrats.
thank you. The narrator is amazing. She's so cool. But aside from that little plug I had to put in, I freaking love audiobooks. Like, I would not read nearly as much if I didn't have my audiobooks. Like I listen to them in the car, like when I go and walk my dog. And they're just great. Like, and I'm dyslexic, so I really I can read obviously, but I feel like when I'm reading, I'm like there will be times where I like literally read something that is just not there.
Oh, okay.
The struggles of being dyslexic. So I really like audiobooks for that reason too. And it just when you're busy, they're so helpful. So you could just get so much more books in than you typically would.
Yeah, I listen to stuff all the time, and I usually wind up it's either music or it's I don't know, like politics and stuff like that, and a lot of it I'm like I should listen to this. This is just like destroying my brain. So audiobooks would be a much better option.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah. How are you getting on, Pay? How's your eye?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm so sorry. I'm very quiet right now. Yeah, no, there's like a stick in my eye. I can't get it. I don't know what's going on. It's completely distracting me. I
Oh
can't
no.
do anything.
I realized I told Arabella, but I didn't tell the live that Pay and I are both a little like under the weather. So if either of us are out of it or quiet, like
But it's not even that. I can't
but
even
also that.
see.
Oh no.
I
You should
don't
try
know.
running your eyeball like through some water.
Yeah,
Work
that's
it
what
out or
I
something.
think I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's like I think maybe I'm just going blind.
No, we need one of those like science eye wash stations, like
Yeah.
for in the labs and stuff.
Yeah,
Just
I had to use that once when I was working at an old folks home. I worked in the kitchen,
oh yeah.
and I had a plate of like food that I was bringing back in, and there was a napkin on it, and I was trying to blow the napkin into the trash, but I accidentally blew a thing of cinnamon into my eye.
Oh no.
Like it was like someone had like a little thing full of cinnamon, and I blew it right into my eyeballs, and it was terrible. So
Ow.
yeah, don't recommend.
No. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh, I was gonna say something that just escaped my mind.
Oh, I hate that.
Ah,
It's
yeah.
the worst.
Yeah. Oh my God.
It was the cinnamon. It did it. Took you right out of it.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Oh yeah, I guess I was gonna ask you, how many books do you have planned for your series?
So 3 officially. I might do a 4th prequel just because like the backstory is so it's its own thing. It's its own amazing, great story. But with like different characters and stuff. Cause like in the book, it kind of has themes of like reincarnation and past lives. So it kind of deals with that story. So I might do that. It really just depends on how good the series does at the end of the 3rd book. Like if it's not really doing well, I probably won't. If it's doing really good, then I will. But I have like so I released this as an upper YA, but I basically decided that I don't want to pigeonhole myself into YA fiction. I really
I've been
want,
thinking that too.
yeah, I really, because it's very much on like the like upper end of YA, and I really just want to write sex and violence and
Yeah, adult
language.
stuff.
Yeah, adult stuff. And so book 2 it's like a nice in between, and then book 3 will probably be way more adult, and then after that everything's just going to be straight adult 100%. So I don't know if I want to keep hanging on to a series that is still more young.
Right.
Or not. It really just depends, like I said, where it's at. But 3 officially, and I'm so excited to start plotting the 3rd book because just book 2 went so well. Like I did a video on this about how like everyone has said like writing your sequel or your 2nd book is so much worse than writing the first one. And I had just did not have that experience.
No, I don't agree with that.
Me either. I think it's been so good and just so much of a better experience in every way, basically. And but yeah, I'm kind of torn between what my next series would be. I have like a vampire-esque kind of series, or I have like a more like artificial intelligence AI, but like mixed with like the medieval type of thing. It's kind of strange, but I don't know which one I would go with. It really will depend on where the market is.
I mean, AI is a thing right now. That might be the good direction.
Yeah, and vampires are definitely back in style.
Yeah.
I think though, by the time I'm done with book 3, which will be in 2024, I don't know what the market's going to be. So it really depends on what's hot or what's up and coming. I think the AI one would probably be where I go, even though like, the vampire one, because it would have demons in it too.
Just
I think that one would just be
do them both at the same time.
Oh gosh, yeah, I would love that, honestly. If I had, maybe I'll be skilled enough to pull something like that off at that point. I booked the coolest gig though in 2024. So you know what ACOTAR is, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so a gal is putting on an ACOTAR ball, like the Starfall.
Oh, okay.
Like a ball, an ACOTAR black tie ball, and I got an author spot there.
Oh,
so
that's great.
I'm so stoked for 2024. So I think the 3rd book won't be out because the thing is in May. And so my book will likely come out in that fall of 2024. Okay. But a lot of readers that are going to be there are going to be, the type of readers that you want. Like those are the hardcore, because tickets alone were $300 a person. So
okay, so like, they're invested.
They're invested. So yeah, so it really depends on like how good I do there too, and stuff, because I know sci-fi is a harder sell than fantasy. And I really, and like the AI story blends sci-fi and fantasy again too, just like the Mark of Chaos and Creation. It really, like, something that I feel like I do really well is really blending the two together perfectly.
I was gonna say, like, when you mentioned sci-fi and fantasy, and then also like medieval and AI, I think your genre blending is very interesting because you don't see that a lot. And like I haven't ordered your book yet, but I definitely want to read it. Like it's in my area. It sounds awesome. And when I saw the sci-fi fantasy, I'm like, okay, I got to see how she's doing that.
Yeah, so it basically blends like a galactic alien empire with like magic and a really cool like revenge plot magic system with like ancient legendary weapons and kind of like a found family type story with the overcoming a corrupt government, but that corrupt government is an evil alien empire. And then, like I said, it has reincarnation and past life themes in it, and it's just very unique, I think, and special. So I really like it. I'm proud of what I did with it, and it's just a cool story. So I think that's one of the things that I do special, is that I really like take two things that you would never put together, like aliens with magic, like what the hell, and put them together. But they're like hot aliens. They're not like gross, nasty aliens. They're like hot, sexy aliens. I need to like preface that. Because I think like when people, because I never thought of this, but like some people might hear aliens and think of like a little green man. I don't know what
Right.
people think of, but
Like the
no.
grays with the sort of withered hands.
Yeah, no, they're a hot aliens.
like the Sims aliens.
Yeah, the main one of the main aliens, he's my villain. I have such a crush on him. I don't know what that says
I
about
always
me.
love my villains. My villains are my
Oh
favorites.
God, yeah. So his name's Malachite, and he's the prince of this galactic empire, and he is like hashtag obsessed with my main character. And but he is just like fine and like dark hair, dark eye, just that vibe. I just I love it so much.
Yeah, I saw some of your you have a Pinterest board and stuff, sort of
That's my
showing
board.
the style and everything. I think that's
Yeah.
great. I try to do that with mine, and I usually fill it up at the beginning and then I forget to add to it. I'm like,
Well, I'm surprised you found it. Most people don't look at the board, so
oh really?
yeah. Well, at least no one's ever mentioned it to me.
Oh, I think they're so fun.
I do too. Yeah, and I've been working on those boards for years. Like if you go way back, like I've worked on those boards for years. And so yeah, I've just been working on the board for the second book now. And and a couple of the new characters, like Malachite's sister comes in and she's a little wench. She's just an evil biatch. But yeah, I love it. I think the world is really cool, unique. It's like it takes place on Earth, but like a futuristic Earth where the occupation has control. Like it's got their claws in Earth 100%. They're ruling things. And yeah, there's mystery in it too. It starts off where the main character, she's 12 and she's living in this orphanage, and then the aliens come and kidnap her best friend. And so her revenge plot is kind of getting back at them for taking him. And so she's also searching for him too. She's like, where is he? Where did he go? He's a part of the magic system as well. And you kind of figure out like what it all means as you go on. And so there's a mystery of the magic and like who is doing what to who and why and where. And it kind of is like one of those like, you don't know it all until the end, and like all the pieces come together. If you like those type of stories, that's kind of what it is.
That's what I tried to write with my novels as well, like my first one that I put out, and it's like, is it working? And I actually got a review just a couple days ago where she mentioned how like, oh, we didn't know until the end. And I was like, yes, thank you, yes. It worked.
Right, because you like really never know if people are gonna get it. Like
yeah. And like when you're writing, you're so in it, right? That you can't even like, it's hard to take a step back and go, is this functioning? Is this working? And like, it's hard to remove yourself from that. And then when someone else says it works, you're like, okay, all right, okay.
Oh, it's very hard. And I think like that was one thing I really learned, especially like getting feedback and stuff, is that you will like write something down, and to you like that makes 100% the most sense ever, and then somebody else reads it and sees something completely different. And you're like, what? That is the clearest I could make it. What do you mean? And so I've learned to be just a very, very clear, very, very specific, without it being like robotic, you know?
Well,
but yeah.
On that topic, Pei, you write philosophical fiction. You must have experienced that with people like, misconstruing things, right? Have you had that, or?
Yeah, I haven't had anything other than that.
Yeah.
It's, oh God, I don't even.
Sorry for just throwing that at you. But that area, I was
fine. Like, I don't. What was your question?
We were just talking about how when you write something and you're like, this is what I'm getting across, and then all the readers like completely misconstrue it, and you're like, oh.
hate that.
Yeah, I mean, see, it's difficult because with what I write, it's not ever trying to get at one specific thing. I guess I have written things in which I have written science fiction and whatnot, and they are trying to get, but as far as what I've published, it's more open in in a more poetic sense, and poetry is just open for interpretation, and so half the time I don't even know what it is.
Yeah, I guess with YA, right? Like you're very intentional. It is one very like clear thing that you're trying to get across. So the genres are pretty different there.
Yeah. YA is great though. Like I read mostly YA. I love the genre. I just want to really dive into deeper themes and stuff. And like, I don't know, like I said before, I just want to write more adult stuff.
I think that YA has been kind of ruined a bit because like it's when you look at the age range, it should be like it's young adult, so it is slightly mature, but it's changed so much that like I battle with myself where like I know the age group for my work that I'm putting out, but I also don't feel like it's quite the classic YA. Like do you experience that at all? Because it's like
Yeah.
yeah, like I think there's kind of a low bar where YA is concerned because it's so popular, and it's like, do I really want to use that label? Because I don't know if that's what I'm writing sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Like, I mean, someone could even possibly take my book and say it's an adult, like it really is on the edge of that. And then you have new adult too, which kind of
Yeah.
throws a wrench into everything.
I started using that actually when I was first putting A Time When Demons out. I was like, that feels a little bit better.
Same. I think I should have maybe used that, but the second book will definitely be more on that spectrum. It's just because you're indie, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so I think the indie YA is different than the trad YA.
Yeah,
I
definitely.
think they're just different categories that they're the same, but they're not. And I think maybe that's kind of where what you're experiencing kind of comes in, because it's just like traditional like YA. Like if you were to pick up like Stephanie Garber or something, like that's just very commercial YA fantasy, right?
I think Twilight started it.
Yeah, it did. Twilight, oh man.
Twilight happened, and that was it for YA.
I mean, like YA has like magic to it, though. It does. Like when you find it
fun, right?
Yeah, I don't know. It's a tough one. Like, because I only read like the YA sci-fi fantasy. I don't read the other YA stuff.
Yeah.
That bores me to absolute death. So I don't know how that side of it compares to like the fantasy side of it. But I just like the feeling that it gives. Like, it just like has a magic to it, and that's kind of what I wanted to replicate, was that like that feeling of like in this huge world, but this super interpersonal story of someone who is young and looked down on and underestimated and all of that. And I don't know, because there's like a family element in my book too, I decided to keep it YA, because I had thought of maybe just making it NA or adult or whatever, but the story has like that family element that really would make more sense if I kept her at 17,
right,
a child, and it would just make more sense.
Mhm.
So that was really one of the main reasons I kept it YA, was because of her story, just because that's how I wrote it.
Mhm.
And if it wasn't YA, I felt like that wouldn't make as much sense
Yeah.
with that dynamic, because there's kind of like a parent-child dynamic with the characters. So I don't know. That's kind of why I left it. But
Yeah, and I mean, it
yeah,
can evolve, like you were saying, as you know, as you write, and it gets more adult. Like a lot of great series have that evolution, and that's what I'm planning for my next one. It starts sort of like the younger age group, and then the characters grow up, so it gets more adult as it goes along. And I think that's a really good thing to do in writing in this
I agree.
area. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. And my editor was saying that, like, you don't want to like build an audience and then switch on them, because
Yeah.
then you can lose them. And so um that's why I'm going to progress the series to adult slowly, and then
Hmm.
just be adult from there, because I don't want to write YA like forever. That just seems too limiting for me. Like, because
Yeah.
I touch on like PTSD and SA and child abuse and stuff in this book, but it's just
Hmm.
like very briefly mentioned. But like I think as an author, like it's my responsibility to talk about these things that people feel shame about, or that are hidden in the dark, or whatever the hell, like
Yeah.
these topics I want to bring the light. I want to have a conversation about. And with a teen audience, you have to do that super, super delicately, which I
Hmm.
did. And I like how I did it, but I just want to do more of that.
Yeah, I think so personally I've been writing for a long time, and all of my stuff just wound up sort of being YA because I started it when I was like 13 years old. So that's the
Same.
space
Yeah.
I'm in. And I just thought, like, I love that space. I love the magic that you mentioned, but at the
Yeah.
same time, as an author who is, growing and evolving, you want your writing to grow and evolve, and you want to start tackling things that like really really mean something to you. So I think that like I definitely understand wanting to sort of grow out of that younger space. As great as it is, it's kind of like a nice little cocoon, but it's like, all right, you want to push out, and you want to tackle the real issues and things that you really want to talk about, because I mean that's the writer's voice, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you said it perfectly. That's exactly how I feel. Well, yeah.
Well, we're coming up on an hour, and I think that that's a great note to sort of wrap it up on.
Cool. Yeah.
Um, and unless there's something else you want to say, if there's anything else you want to get at.
No, I think it's a good place to stop. I had a really great time. I hope
Yeah.
your eyeball over there gets fixed.
Yeah,
That sounds terrible.
I am so sorry.
No, you're okay.
I've been just so distracted this whole time. I can't even focus on anything. It's I'm gonna go take a spoon and just scoop my eye out.
No,
I don't know what's
You're
going on.
sick, you're going blind. It's not a great
Yeah.
experience.
but no,
No,
I
so
feel bad.
I'm sorry. I was so out of it this whole
No,
time.
take care of yourself. It's
We'll
okay.
we'll do another one sometime.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Oh, thank you so much for coming on. It was great chatting, and I look forward to, continuing our friendship and talking more.
Absolutely. And thanks for having me
Of
and
course.
thinking of me. I super happy to be here.
And yeah, let people know where they can find your stuff.
Oh yeah, okay. So the Mark of Chaos and Creation is basically everywhere. It's on Amazon. It's on Kindle Unlimited, so you can only get the ebook on Amazon. But it's available in the ebook, paperback, and hardback, and you can get it on Barnes and Noble, Amazon, I think Walmart. But like if you just Google it, there's a bunch of places you can get the hardback and stuff. And the audiobook will be coming out really soon, probably early February. But yeah, it'll be on Audible exclusively there. So you could get it on Audible. And yeah, if you are looking for that workbook that we talked about earlier,
Yes.
it'll be on my website. It's just www.arabellakfederico.com, just my name, and it'll be out really, really soon. And I'll put it on my socials. And it's super affordable, so anybody can get it.
Okay, awesome. And I'll share it when you launch it. So let me know.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate it.
Of course. All right. I hope that you have a great day. I hope that everyone who joined has a great day. And yeah, we'll sign off for now.